Welcome to the Tom and Barry Show, episode number 6, where we talk all things college football with a Nebraska and an Oklahoma and a Big Ten and a Big 12 and an SEC bent. When really tom-shatel, Omaha World Herald, berry-tramel, Tulsa World, we go back to Big 8 days. Of course, speaking of the Big 8, Oklahoma won its 1975 national title with an Orange Bowl victory over Michigan. Only time the Sooners and Wolverines have ever played. They meet Saturday at Owen Field. All I know about Michigan is I love their uniform since I was a kid. I've loved their fight song for the last 40 years. Tom, you're knee deep in Michigan Wolverine lore. The Huskers have been going up against the Wolverines for about 15 years now. What you can tell people about Michigan that maybe people down in Oklahoma don't know?
Well, Michigan people love them some Michigan, and they'll be there. They'll be loud and proud. And that's when you think Big Ten, you think Ohio State, obviously, and you think Michigan. Um, I loved going to the Big House first time. Second or third time, it wasn't as um, impressive to me. I just seemed like a big stadium. Fans are really set far away, but it's an impressive sight. And you're right. The helmets, this is a great helmet game. Um, uh, the I can't believe they haven't played each other. I can't wait. I hope Oklahoma is going back to Ann Arbor because
Yeah, next year, actually.
you're going to love that. You got to go. You're going to love that. Good press box, good people. Ann Arbor's a fun town. Um, where um, one of my music favorites, Bob Seger, is from there.
Oh,
So
really?
he wrote a couple songs about Ann Arbor. So yeah, one song's called Main Street was about Ann Street in downtown Ann Arbor. So anyway, um, I think this is, and I love the fact that the Michigan coach is from OU. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember him much. I
No,
don't
he
know
didn't play
him
that.
at
He didn't
OU at
play that
all.
much. He's a backup offensive lineman for Bob Stoops, Sharon Moore.
Yeah.
But people raved about his leadership and his character and all that stuff. So he was highly thought of.
Well, it raised an eyebrow around here. I thought it was kind of silly, but he got suspended and he chose to play or he chose to coach at OU and rather than Nebraska. And people thought, well, they were kind of insulted, like, well, he didn't think he needs to be here. I said, no, he's a Sooner.
He
He
wants to
ain't
go home.
missing. That's this game.
Yeah.
Off of Lindsay Street. There's no way.
Yeah.
I just love everything about this matchup. Again, I wish there was a Big Ten SEC series because there'd be plenty of these kind of brand name things that don't usually happen that could happen all the time. So um, it's a great early season. We had a bunch of good brand brand on brand games last weekend. We got some more this week. I think college football's the better for it. I hope that never changes.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a fun game, I think, in Norman. Two really good defenses. We'll see on the offenses, new quarterbacks. Uh, Bryce Underwood, really true freshman. You've got an up close seat for the one of the more recent true freshman experiences with Dylan Raiola. I actually last night went through and true freshmen are handed the reins to really good teams far more than we realize. I
Yeah.
mean, Alabama and Georgia have made national championship games in the last 7, 8 years with a true freshman quarterback. Clemson won a national title, Trevor Lawrence's freshman year, and all USC, all kinds of people have been playing true freshmen at quarterback. But from what you've seen out of Rayola, what you've seen out of Michigan's quarterback situation, particularly last year when it was rough, I mean, are you reasonably optimistic about Bryce Underwood?
Oh yeah, I think he's going to be special. Barry, these guys, it's not 80s or 90s anymore where you had to. Of course, I saw one in Tommy Frazier,
Yeah.
92 freshman. But those were very rare, especially programs like these. I don't remember what what year Jamel Holloway was in '85, but
80. Yeah, he was a true freshman when they
no,
won.
there you go.
Yeah.
So it has happened, but you see more and more, I think, because these kids are all trained to be quarterbacks. They from you know grade school on up. They have coaches, trainers, you know, personal valets, whatever you want to. They go through camps, and they travel around and go to these different gurus. Um, so it really, when they get there, yeah, the lights are bright, but maybe they aren't as bright as they used to be. So. Um, but I just don't. Michigan's not picked high in the Big Ten. They lost a bunch. They won. They won. They didn't win the Big Ten, but they won the Ohio State game, which for them was like winning the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And I believe they beat Alabama in the bowl game.
Yeah,
So,
when Michigan was a little shorthanded and Bama was at almost full strength.
I mean, yeah, Sherrod Moore is on a roll, so I'm sure he's been planning on this game um, all summer, all spring. But I got to think Brent Venables with his defensive prowess has got a couple of things up his sleeve for the young freshman. So, um, and of course, OU's got a quarterback too.
Yeah, Mateer looked really good. Of course, playing Illinois State. But I tell people the one thing that the one thing that doesn't care who the opponent is the football. And when Mateer's ball is zipping through the air, it looks really good. It's I'd say Mateer's got the best arm of any recent Oklahoma quarterback, including your Mayfields and Landry Jones, the whole crew. I think Mateer throws the prettiest ball, zip line type pass. The one thing I'll add to the freshman quarterback deal, you talked about why they're so much better equipped to take over immediately these days. The other thing is they're getting here in January, so they actually do have a
Yeah.
spring practice. Tommy Frazier was not an early entry. Jamel
No.
Holloway was not an early entry. Nobody, I mean, until the 2000s, people thought you were nuts if you'd leave high school the second half of your senior year and go to college early. But happens all the time. They look at you
Yeah.
nuts now if you don't do it. So, uh,
Right.
yeah, that'll be a great scene and spectacle watching Bryce Underwood in his first big Michigan game, and really John Mateer in his first big Oklahoma game. Of course, you had one of the better games, I think, of the week one, Nebraska Cincinnati. I thought it was a fascinating game. I was expecting more points, but Cincinnati held Nebraska down, and Nebraska put the kibosh on Cincinnati. Huskers win at 2017 in Arrowhead. Looked like lots of Nebraska fans and lots of Taylor Swift on the television. So, how was your weekend with Taylor Swift?
Well, it took a while to get to Arrowhead, but once we did, it was electric. It was everything everybody thought would be. Of course, the Kelsey brothers were both there, and they're on the sideline before the game. Travis has got the big red and white striped rugby thing on, and it's so hard to miss. Probably on purpose. Cameras were all, people were taking pictures of where is she at? Well, she wasn't going to be on a sideline before the game. Caught up to her later, but um, the fans are, Nebraska fans are so hungry for anything resembling uh, a great year. Being, I don't think they'll ever be back to what they were, but they've got a new normal that they've got to create. And they're just hungry for, you know, a better season, a better bowl, a better future. And so they show up in numbers. They love Arrowhead. Most of them go to Chiefs games anyway on Sundays, so they know the way there. They The tailgate lots were supposed to open at 3:30 for 8 p.m. game. They had to open them at 2:45 because the line to get in was so long and people were tailgating on the highway, while they were waiting in line. They just got out of their cars, started throwing footballs around, and they set up, drinks, and it was crazy. So, but it was the power of Nebraska. It was good to see it back. It's been a while. You don't always see the power of Nebraska in the Big Ten. It's a little harder to travel. Um, it's not like the Big 8 days where they would drive down and take over Lawrence for the weekend or Manhattan. Um, this is this was 3 hours, so it was kind of like old times there with the Nebraska fans, 70,000 strong probably or more. Um, so yeah, the game was good. Nebraska played well. They had some mistakes. They kept Cincinnati in the game too long. They had uh, some breakdowns on defense where the quarterback Sansby got loose. He's a runner, and he just kind of dropped back and looked for a hole and ran. And they weren't ready for that yet. So the defensive front is still young. So, um, but that my friend Blair Kirkhoff from the Kansas City Star was there about halfway through the third quarter. Cincinnati's coming back, and he happened to walk past us and go, "Well, are they setting it up for another heartbreak?" I go, "Well, we'll see." But it was kind of nervous time for a while there. They had to hold him off at the end. It was a good win. A lot of Nebraska fans were not happy with how they played. That's how they roll. Uh, I said it's a win. They in the last 8 years they'd won. This was only the third opening or opener that they'd won in 8 years. So
Great day.
um, they needed it. Now on to Akron, and then um, after that they play another directional team, and then it's Michigan in Lincoln in 2 weeks. So and Sharon Moore will not be at that game. So all eyes will be on Norman this week.
Yeah, no, that is true. Well, that was Nebraska Cincinnati was the best game of Thursday night. We saw a bunch of good games though. SEC Big Ten rivalry was in full bloom in Columbus, and the Buckeyes get the better of Texas again. Sort of pour water over the Arch Manning fire. 14-7. Tom, defenses are back. We're back to 1974. We're looking at Clemson, LSU 17-10, Ohio State, Texas 14-7. Every game we look at, the Dublin game was low scoring. Just low scores everywhere. South Carolina 24-11, and none more so than in the horseshoe. I thought Arch Manning didn't look comfortable, didn't look good. First pass of the game was a skip ball off the turf, and he's got a ways to go. I think Steve Sarkisian's going to have to unshackle him a little bit, let him run some. And I thought Buckeyes realized pretty early, hey, we don't have to do much to win this game. Just don't screw it up, and that's exactly what happened. And I was very impressed with Ohio State.
Yeah, they've got the kind of program now. I'm not saying they're the new Alabama, but they've certainly been around a long time. They're not new to anything, but yeah, new quarterback, and they're at home. Obviously, they play well at home, but yeah, they got after Manning. I couldn't help myself as I sat there, Barry, on my couch with my giant Diet Coke and whatever barbecue chip I could find, uh, watching the Arch Manning commercials come at me one by one, and like what a incredible sign of the times. Where I'm watching, I'm watching. Is it the commercial? Where is the player? Is he on the field or is he in my TV set? And he's both. And I've never seen that before, where a player commercials were running during while he was playing.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, hey, Tom,
unfortunately for him,
at
in this
one
case,
they
he
say
wasn't
at one
playing
point,
well.
yeah, at one point they had actually seen more Arch commercials than Arch completions.
And
Yeah,
and
3-2.
and it ended up two commercials to one touchdown.
Yeah.
but
Wow. Yeah,
but
what a
I hate to
wild.
make fun. I do love the kid. There was too much hype, but he's signed up for those commercials too.
Yeah.
So, and you can't blame him. Take the
Uh,
money, go for it. But but it comes with the scrutiny of being Arch Manning. And so I didn't think Arch Manning was their only problem, though. They got down there the red zone, and once again, Sarkisian can't punch it in. And
Yeah.
it was just like last year in the playoff. And they didn't fix that. And if they tried to tush push, well, there was no tush or push. They just kind of laid there. And it
Yeah.
was just, Ohio State beat him across the line. And Texas, before they can win a national title, probably got to get that fixed. And so I don't know. I don't think Texas's season is over. I think Arch Manning will still be good. Um, Winning the Heisman, well, he's a ways off for that. Um, but if you're Oklahoma and you can get physical, of course, the Red River is always hot. But I mean, Oklahoma's got to look at that game and go, okay. So um, I was my takeaway, Barry, was Alabama. And maybe I haven't paid enough attention. And I've heard some experts say, well, Kalen DeBoer's got all this talent. I didn't see it. I don't think they have the same dudes they used to have. I don't think their receivers didn't look great. Their skill guys didn't look great. Quarterback was okay. And Florida State, with the former Husker defensive coordinator, Tony White, look, their hair was on fire, had every incentive to play well. I was just struck by how kind of ordinary Alabama looked by Alabama standards. So um, maybe that's the NIL effect. Maybe that's the portal effect. Maybe that's the Nick Saban effect. And maybe that's one reason he left.
Well, I know. I mean, we know this. Some of the players, even before the last couple of years, even when Saban was there, some of the players who automatically were making the pilgrimage to Tuscaloosa had veered off and were going over to Athens. So Georgia had commandeered, the best talent. I think the status of best talented, most talented team in the SEC had become Georgia, and I didn't know. I assumed Alabama would be pretty good. They were pretty good last year. Could have made the playoff easily, but Kalen DeBoer, that was an alarming game, I thought. And who,
That'll put him up behind the eight ball real fast.
if
And
you
it
had,
won't be,
if you had it on your bingo card that by week 2, by the first Saturday in September, that Hugh Freeze would have better job security than Kalen DeBoer, you'd made a lot of money in the state of Alabama.
yeah.
But that's sort of where we're at. Auburn looked good in beating Baylor, and Alabama just a despondent loss. I don't know who had a worse first week, Kalen DeBoer or Bill Belichick. I mean, that was
Well,
was not
I,
that was not a
Barry,
good loss.
I don't know how it's going to work out for DeBoer. There's a long way to go. Um, but the standard there behind Saban is you got to win the national title. You certainly have to at least play for it, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. I mean, I thought it was kind of a reach when he took that job. I said, man, you don't want to be the guy to replace Saban. You want to be the guy who replaces Saban. So who replaces the guy? So um, I don't know how it'll work out, but if they don't, if they're if they continue to do that, and they've got Wisconsin coming in 2 weeks. Wisconsin's not going to be very good. They lost, I believe, their running back or quarterback, and they haven't. They'll Alabama will probably bounce back. Some of the SEC schools are not going to be afraid of them, and that's going to be interesting. And OU goes down there, right?
Yeah, in November, and of course, Sooners kept them out of the playoffs last year with that stunning 23-3 victory. Nobody saw that coming, but.
Nope.
Yeah, I tell you, LSU did the college football a favor by beating Clemson, else we would have an ACC revolution on our hands. Miami beat Notre Dame, Florida State beat Alabama, and if Clemson had beat LSU, I mean, we'd see the ACC standing on top the tallest towers, screaming their ascendancy. So good. I thought it was a good first week there. Georgia Tech beat Colorado. Good week for the ACC. It's the one league we don't care about. we don't pay a lot of attention to if you're in Big Ten, SEC, Big 12 circles. But ACC had a nice week, and um,
Yeah, Miami looked good, and
yeah.
they were on a roll until, well, last night happened.
Yeah. Well,
Did you
did you
watch
feel? Did
that?
you? Okay, let me ask you. Did you feel any twinge of sorrow and
No.
pity or empathy for Bill Belichick?
I was all a wonder. The pregame, it's like he's coming over and hugging the ESPN guy. It's like he's turned into the pseudo celebrity, which he was never very interesting with the Patriots. I mean, it was all you watched because of Tom Brady. Nobody wanted to watch because of Bill Belichick walking around the sideline.
Right.
But him as a celebrity guy to tune in, it was always kind of weird to me. But just a reminder, as we old goats know very well, college football ain't about coaching; it's about players. And yeah, he hasn't found out how to coach, but he didn't have nearly the players. And
No.
how about Sonny Dykes getting fired up? We got disrespected. I mean, I don't know, but how good is TCU? Are they somebody to watch in the Big 12?
I think they're pretty good. They went 9-4 last year. The Frogs had the easy side of the schedule. They weren't a legitimate type 9-4. They get much tougher schedule this conference season, but I think they're pretty good. They got a really good quarterback. Josh Hoover's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny last night, Tom. Of course, North Carolina scores first. And so we get about 10 minutes of clips of Carolina royalty celebrating, whether it's Lance Taylor, Michael Jordan, Roy Williams, whoever. Uh, when TCU would do something, the best they could do was Josh Hoover's family, which got all of Oklahoma fired up because his sister is a sports anchor slash reporter for the ABC affiliate in Oklahoma City. So Hannah, she's a great gal. I love her to death. So that was fun. So she was sitting there, she got as much airtime last 3 hours of that game as Michael Jordan. So yeah, they bailed. Boy, they bailed on that team quick, I thought, in Chapel Hill. Um, Even the ESPN crew, Herb Street and those guys saying, well, the game's over. It's still in the third quarter. That's
They
a Big 12 defense. I mean, I thought they waved the white flag pretty easy, but man, they were. I don't know where the good people of Chapel Hill were going, but they sure fled that stadium. You ever been out there for a football game, Tom?
I've been to basketball, and while I was there for basketball, I toured. I walked into the football stadium and went around, and it's very cool. Everything about that campus is
Yeah, it's.
everything you'd ever imagine.
I've never been to a game there. I'd love to go. I've been to Chapel Hill, but not to a football game. I'd love to go. It looks beautiful.
Yeah,
It really does. Big game in our neck of the woods there between the Big Reds. We got the border war is back. Missouri, Kansas. Big game for both schools. Big game for the Big 12. Not so much for the SEC, but a big game for the Big 12. This is a rivalry that never should have stopped. It did. It's back. Hopefully, we can get it going now on an annual basis. But it's a really big game for Kansas. Jayhawks looked good against Fresno State, and now Missouri never looks good. They just win under Eli Drinkwitz. They just win. I was in Columbia last November. They had no business beating Oklahoma. Sooners basically had the game won, and all of a sudden, all you had to do is go to the bathroom, and you come back, and the game's over. Missouri somehow won.
that's kind of what I did. I gave up on it, and I thought, well, I don't know how good Oklahoma is, but they're outplaying them, and they'll probably win. And then the next thing I knew, uh, it was going to overtime, and then all of a sudden it didn't go to overtime. They won with a sack and a scoop. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, the and of course Missouri gets one of their quarterbacks. I'm a Dodger fan, um, and the Dodgers draft pick Sam Horn gets hurt early running the ball. I mean, so they had a two quarterback thing going. Now they're down to one. So I don't know how long he's going to be out, but I love this game because it's an old Big Eight rivalry. It's a Civil War rivalry. If you go way back,
Yeah.
to me it was always, as a Missouri guy who covered both teams and I covered one of these games. Missouri Kansas was better in basketball because of one man, Norm Stewart, who was just a one man wrecking crew. Hated Kansas. I mean, it was beautiful. It was characters, great matchups. Football, neither team was really that ever good together, and the game was always played at the end, same weekend as OU Nebraska. It just kind of didn't have any juice. Um, and that one time they've actually been equal and very good together was the Gary Pinkel Mangino '07, I believe.
Yeah.
It was, played at Arrowhead. Weren't they ranked 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think they were, I think
or
it
something
was,
like that.
yeah, I think it was 1-4 or something.
One
Yeah.
and four, and
Crazy,
Missouri
crazy
won.
day.
Yeah, Missouri won, and we went to play Oklahoma at the Big 12 and lost that game. And KU got the Orange Bowl bid. I kind of got the revenge that way. So, um, but I love this game early, Barry. I think I would love to see rivalry games like this, where it's out of conference played early, um, because both teams are good. They have both have hope. Fans are excited. Sometimes you get to the end of the year, people are hurt, seasons are lost, and it doesn't quite mean as much. But this one means everything. I've got my Missouri daughter going down for it, and my KU daughter is going over for it. And I told them just be careful and try to hurt each other. So it's going to be. I got a night game. I'll be watching in the press box at 2:30. What time is OU Michigan?
It's 6:30. 6:30.
Yeah. Well, if Nebraska Akron gets out of hand or gets bad or whatever, I'll go sneak into the lunchroom and watch a little OU Michigan.
Well, it'll be a fun week of college football. Not quite as many marquee games as we had maybe a week ago, but the 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 great thing about college football, and it's why we need to keep so many conferences going, is when you've got four major conferences and 68 teams, you're always going to have some good games somewhere.
Yeah.
If you narrow it down to only 30 or 40 teams that matter, the NFL guaranteed competition because everybody's so close, but that's not guaranteed in the NFL. You can have a Saturday full of duds if you're only talking about 15 games.
Yeah.
We just don't happen to know where they're going to come from. So it'll be fun. We will talk again next week. But Tom, enjoy the Akron Zips. Last week, you got to Arrowhead and Taylor Swift in a great game against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Well, I had to watch Illinois State. Roles are reversed this week. I've got Michigan, you've got Akron.
Yep.
Some days a diamond, some days a stone. So that's the way it goes. It's been fun, Tom. We will talk next week.
All right, sir. Thank you.
See you later.